You're watching Chillmonger. We got Paul from or P Dub from the Black Comic Lords. Look at the matching memorabilia that we got. So Vibranium right over there. We got the number 66. Obviously, that's because of why.
It's the year Fantastic 452 came out.
Why the hell is Adamantium saying 119? Comment
I have
section.
no clue.
Fill us in,
I
bro.
don't
Fill
know.
us in.
Yeah,
Shoot,
somebody's gonna know out there.
someone is gonna know. And so yeah, 181 is where the Hulk appears. It's where you know what I mean. Wolverine's first full appearances, and I gotta say full appearance because someone's gonna check me on that. 119. What happened, man? When was the movie? 2000. See, I don't know. I don't get it. We are here, gathered here today, beloved, for 5 questions on Black Panther with Ewing. Now, who's the one who wrote these questions?
I did.
Okay, you did. All right, all right. And you didn't get an answer to everything that you wanted to ask,
No. I
but you
think we
do
learned
have.
from our previous experience that there are certain things that she's not willing to discuss.
But the fact that she's willing to come back to you and use you, not use you, but I mean, cooperate with you, is something we have to recognize. I know you're not sour. I know you're not like pouting because she didn't answer all my questions. I'm just saying, like,
No, no.
yeah, it's really cool that this happens.
Yeah, yeah. I truly appreciate the fact that she's even willing to talk to us, and we feel very blessed that she feels comfortable enough to have us reach out to her and answer whatever questions that we give her.
Yep. And if you want more, you go to blackcomiclords.net. Number 1, T'Challa is still referred to as the former king of Wakanda. That's what I'm talking about, Paul. Paul, before we even read anything else, that's the question. Where this is going is where I want to be going. That's where my brain goes, okay?
Dude, I had all of you guys in mind when I wrote these questions.
Is T'Challa still emperor of the intergalactic empire of Wakanda? Will you soon be addressing his status as emperor? Why
I
did she
think of
do
the
that?
5 questions we asked her, I think she answered 3 of them.
See, when she says in the interview, she says something like, "I don't want to give away plot points and I don't want to spoil anything because this may be a reason for what I'm doing, whatnot." Sometimes the pessimistic says because she doesn't have an answer. That's her way to get out of it. She's trying to avoid accountability for some of the stuff she says. Hey, that whole thing about how you have the power of the heart shaped herb. She didn't think that through. Remember that?
I mean, yeah, I have no comment on that.
See, what
I
I
will
would
say that
say,
I've raised that too. I mean, that was one of the questions. I think one of the other questions that I asked that
yeah.
she did not answer. Where does the power come from? Because at this point, T'Challa's power is supposed to come from Bast directly. It's not from the heart shaped herb.
But the comic said powers of the heart shaped herb. Yeah,
Yeah,
via Bast, but they
yeah.
are the heart shaped herb powers.
Right, right. That's true. That's true. That's a good point.
I should be your publicist, Dr. Ewing. Arguably, 3 most popular runs in Black Panther prior to yours are Jungle Action, Priests, Hudlin. Of the 3, which do you think has the greatest influence, inspiration on your series? How and why? That's
She
good
did
to know,
answer that
right?
one. She
It's
did
good.
answer that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is the significance to the feathers on Mtilly's Black Panther habit?
She answered that one.
We see Mtilly's use magic, or at least ancient science, to defeat Kivumwa. How do you say his name? Kivumwa?
I like the way you say it. You say it better than I do. I was like Kivuma, but you let's say Kivuma. That sounds more exotic.
Yeah, the apostrophe just makes things exotic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I dig that.
He then says, I too bear the wisdom of my elders and a reverence for the old ways, in the name of Bast and her acolytes. Did Mitelli also receive his powers directly from Bast, much like T'Challa did when he became King of the Dead in Fantastic Four 608? Why the hell did you have to cite your Fantastic Four 608? Were you flexing your knowledge, Paul? Is that what you're trying to do?
I don't flex. I'm a Black Comic Lord. It's what we do.
Did you know that though, or did you have to check?
No, I know that. I have those issues. I have multiple copies of that issue. I think it's an important issue.
But I don't remember the numbers of them. That's crazy.
Yeah, 608 and 607. Actually, 607 and 608, I believe.
All right. King of the Dead in Fantastic Four 608, thus making him able to access the powers and knowledge of his predecessors? And then your 5th question, in your 2nd issue, T'Challa says, I still have all the powers imbued by the heart-shaped herb. Does T'Challa no longer have his powers directly from Bast as King of the Dead? If not, when, how, why did that change? And then
That's not
bonus,
when she answered.
no, no. The bonus was, what has been the most challenging and rewarding in writing Black Panther for you? And here's the cool ass cover that we got of Kivuma giving the Draymond green to the Rudy Gobert. That is T'Challa. Uh,
I think this qualifies as a black as a comic book key because it's the first appearance of Kivuma, first appearance and origin, and this particular cover is his first cover appearance as well. So that issue is a key.
See, I got the main cover and I got the variant cover also. And
Yeah,
the thing I did was I always read off of the main cover. Main cover is what I read off of.
right.
This was because I think the variants are more valuable. This is one where I probably should have been putting my
The main
fingers
cover
and
is the more valuable one on this one, in my opinion.
that never happens.
Yeah, because it's the first cover appearance of Kivuma.
Hi, Black Comic Lord team. So, let me turn on my Ewing voice, my female voice. Some of these things I can't answer because they either create spoilers or foreclose space for me or other writers to do interpretative work in the future. But the thing I can respond to are detailed below.
I don't know. I don't know how to unpack that.
It's just a polite way of saying no, really.
Yeah,
What do you,
yeah,
what there's nothing to unpack, I think. I think that was like a very diplomatic answer that was a very safe way to not get into anything.
yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much. I was very disappointed, but I understood.
Arguably, well, look at the questions you asked. You were pretty ambitious questions to ask, you know? Arguably the three most popular runs in Black Panther, and she answers this question. She says, of the prior Panther writers, I'm most influenced by my friend and my mentor, Ta-Nehisi Coates. I probably could have guessed that one before she even said it about Ta-Nehisi Coates. But of those three, it's tough. In many ways, Priest's run will always be the iconic run that has come to define so much of the character as I know him, including the inner life that is so much the core of this story. I've also mentioned to you all before that part of how I write is trying to complement what has been done before. Yeah, she sure does. I noticed that in her Ironheart, which was the first thing that she wrote.
Yeah, she is does not get enough credit for the amount of research and her comic book head knowledge. The fact that we just released a video today, which is just an edit from the interview that we originally did of her, in which we bring up that point. Like this woman is a tremendous comic book head. If you have read her previous works on Ironheart or Champions, Marvel Divas, etc., Photon, she drops so many Easter eggs from her extensive knowledge, and she's like looking for fans to like pick up on these Easter eggs. She has extensive comic book knowledge. It's really impressive.
Mm-hmm. Or fill in empty narrative spaces. And so the fact that so much of Priest's run takes place in New York City is also why I really wanted to go deeper on the nation of Wakanda itself in this run. Yeah, that that has happened in Priest's run, and we are getting more of Wakanda in
That's why I
this
thought her run would probably be more indicative of the jungle action run because that dealt so much with Wakanda.
but it's more so a counter to Priest's run.
Right.
What haven't we been getting that we do need to be seeing? And thus the statues and the sites of Wakanda, the inner city of Burning T'Chaka, Wakanda, where they don't have air conditions coming out the window, um, or poor people, or anything else in cities that are common in the West. Yeah.
But think about another aspect of it.
Hmm.
In Priest Run, it's one of the things that's the most indicative of Priest Run is that he absolutely redefined the character for the modern era. He made him cool, right? And for her to say, I'm mirroring Priest Run, except I'm changing the setting, I think is a little telling because prior to Priest Run, there was literally a decade that went by before T'Challa had his own comic. The last book he had before that was the 4-issue limited series, I believe. And that was like 1988. Priest Run was in 1998. So there's 10 years that go by, no Black Panther books. And he kind of fell by the wayside. So from that perspective, she is at the state where we just had a run by the writer who we will not talk about. I won't say his name online.
Thank you.
Her job is to build him back up. So maybe that's the way she views it, is that like how Priest brought him back from obscurity, her job is to build T'Challa back up from what was done in the last run.
Which is not canon, by the way. Marvel just actually rescinded those 15 issues. They said these issues have issues, and we're taking issue. That's what they said.
You know, quiet is kept. I keep all of my Black Panther comic books together in like one or a couple boxes.
Uh huh.
Um, I do not have the previous writer's run included in that. I just subconsciously haven't brought myself to include that in that box.
Look at it contaminates everything
It
else, right?
contaminates. Exactly.
No, I do keep it in my long box though. It's right there under. It's all alphabetical, so I had to put it there
I
under
have it
B.
alphabetized just somewhere else.
Yeah.
I just don't want to include it with the Black Panther collection.
What about the Tosin issue 200? What about that one?
Well, that's a special issue.
Yeah. The Alex Ross covers though, that's something.
The
All we got
covers
to
are
do is
the
look at
only
the
thing
front.
that was good about that run.
Yeah, it was probably the
The covers were
main.
excellent. Those are some of the best covers that's ever been on Black Panther comics, hands down.
Yes, we get to see Ta-Nehisi Coates that you're providing. Hey, issue 24, where all the black characters showed up there. Listen, I'm just
That's a
saying.
favorite. That's a favorite of mine.
Listen, why? The world was under attack. I need to know why only these heroes were called. Now, in my head canon, it was directly after Riri Williams and Shuri had their little team up, and she was still in Wakanda. They were like, Riri, you go call the rest of the heroes. We're gonna handle the stuff because T'Challa and Shuri, they were all in Wakanda and they all knew what to take care of. So Riri, you go handle the rest of the heroes. We go call Spider-Man, and she was like, which Spider-Man? So she, as a person who was you remember Riri when she first appeared in Wakanda, when she was just flying and she was like had a tear in her eye because
Right.
it's uncolonized Africa. That means something to her. And
Right.
she's like, no, we can protect the world. It's gonna be us. And that's why Brother Voodoo and Monica and all the heroes who did show up were not from our undermelanated friends on Earth because she wanted to be able to say, we can protect this place too, we can do it, which is like a very rookie mistake. The little 15-year-old was making a poor decision because the Earth was on the line. Okay, if it was up to T'Challa, he's calling his best pals Reed and Sue and Human Torch and the Thing. So it was definitely Ironheart.
Is that your interpretation?
That's exactly what actually happened. Marvel actually gave us that skinny too. She didn't mention that in the interview, no.
The whole speech to T'Challa put on them when he's on the mountain with all the heroes. He's like, it used to be Wakanda for Wakandans, but today Wakandan means something more, and that's why I include all of you, my African American brethren.
That was it. Riri was solely.
It was Riri.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she was in the front. She was like, "Yeah, I brought this all together, T'Challa, for you. So let's do it."
You get it. See,
I see it. I see where you're coming from.
I remember Chadwick Boseman was at a convention, and so was he, and he was like excited to meet Christopher Priest. He's like, "Where was he? Did I just miss him? Oh, I've been meaning to try to find him." Like, it's cool that Chadwick Boseman had that reverence for this man.
Yeah. From what I understood, Chadwick read a bunch of those comics before he took the role.
Yeah, back in college, he became a fan of this character.
Yeah.
Who is a different person than him, and they are separate entities, and that's why we should recast.
Absolutely.
What's the significance of the feathers? This is a question for Matt Horak and Mac Chator. But I will say that I put together a vision board for the look of the historic era of Wakanda. What's a vision board?
When you're doing creative stuff and you put pictures of references of things that you want as inspiration for whatever creative endeavor you're doing, that's a vision board.
So you put them on like an email and then you send it to the artist?
I don't know how she physically does it. I mean, it used to be back in the day, you'd literally put up a cardboard board and you take picture clippings and stick it to the board and be creative. Use that to inspire you. Use that as your muse.
Vision board for the look of the historic era of Wakanda. And that was pretty fun. I pulled up a lot of fashion influences from both the African continent and abroad. And I was thinking about how the architecture would be different, how the Hattusarazi would look different. That was cool. So like it wasn't her idea to put the feathers, like the leaf feathers, I think.
I guess that was artistic license.
Matt or Mac? Which of these two? Probably Mac, I think. Mac. I'm gonna give it to Mac. All right.
I guess one is I didn't even look who the artist was on this book. It's not Chris Allen.
No.
So I guess one's the inker and one's the penciler.
I don't
it was
have
good art. It was good art though. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I find the art in this comic was always good. The whole series was good. What's been the most challenging and rewarding writing Black Panther for you? She got a long answer. Challenging? People speculating before my first issue came out that I
Oh yeah,
hate T'Challa.
she was a little she shared some feelings on this one.
Why
Tell
do you
us.
think why do you think that affects someone though? Like, okay, or you don't even know me. Like, I don't know you either. And so what?
Um, I think as a black writer and particularly as a black woman writer, she probably has to deal with a lot of stuff that the average white writer doesn't have to deal with. She's mentioned that before. Um,
In the 9-minute video that you clipped.
yeah, yeah, she goes into depth on her feelings on that. Please check out the video. But she has to deal with a lot of stuff, and I think that's what that response was sort of indicative of.
I hate T'Challa. What? Or that because I'm a feminist, I was gonna kill him off and make sure he's the Black Panther. I okay, listen, that was a theory of mine, and it wasn't like, oh, because she's a feminist. It was more so like the comics are gonna mimic movies.
The movies, yeah, that was a fair, it was a fair fear for all of us. I think all of us shared that fear that they were going Marvel Comics is now the propaganda or promotional piece for the MCU. So consequently, it's consistently mirrored it
Yeah.
across all the properties. So it's logical to assume they do the same thing with Black Panther.
But somebody understood that the most positively impactful melanated character in the history of fiction doesn't need to come to a stop in order for or that his elevation and his story doesn't need to come to a halt to promote something else, which is a worthy cause, which is a female who is black. That's also important. But if it's coming at the cost of this guy here, who's like knocking on the doors of relevance with like characters like Thor and Cap and Iron Man, he was right there. We should definitely not halt to this progression in the name of another progression.
Well, you said someone made that decision. I pray that you're correct, and that's how it came about. That I would like to think that someone in Marvel's editorial has some level of common sense enough to realize that.
Will Moss, I hope, because he's still going to be the editor even after Ewing's run. Why would I take on a project where I hate the titled character? No, but like that's the thing. It could have been another. The title could have still been Black Panther. It just could have went to somebody else. Because I'm a woman writer, people had a lot of very bizarre prejudices about what kind of stories I want to tell before reading one single page. But I mostly try to tune that stuff out. Hey, listen, it just got a paragraph of an answer, so I don't want to hear you tried to tune it out.
I think it affects her. I think it affects her. When you think about the volume of hate mail that this woman probably gets on social media, in letters, the emails about the book. Think about what the things that when you look at the letters to the editor or letters to the writer that's in the back of the book, you only see what Marvel wants you to see.
Hmm.
Imagine the hundreds, if not thousands, of other book letters or emails that they get that they don't show you, that she has read, the stuff that she has to deal with.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that it's positive.
she's not on active on Twitter anymore. And I
She's not.
remember she only got the Ironheart job because of her haircut, and she went to MIT just like the other Chicago Riri Williams, Chicagoan. That was a thing. It was because they matched each other. Therefore, she's that's why she got the job.
I I'm sure someone has said that.
No, yeah, it was very common. It was widespread,
Yeah.
and it's a cool joke. But if you really believe that,
Right.
guys, it's
Right.
like,
You say it once, but then when it gets reposted 1,000 times, it becomes a thing.
most most rewarding. The artistic team has been just incredible. I think Chris Allen is going to go down as a legend.
I
I
agree.
co-sign that.
I
You're
agree.
right.
The guy's dope.
If you look at his pages, there's so much detail, so much care and skill into every aspect of the characters, the anatomy, the combat, and the environment. You almost can't stand it. The other rewarding thing is that I'm really proud of the character work on this run. I hope we are deepening people's understanding of who T'Challa is, and I'm also really proud of Besa, Nyobi, and the Nikisu and Ailonga crime families, and Kivuma, especially the chance to dive into his origin story in this issue. I have a lot of affection for these folk, and I think they are solid contributions to the Marvel universe. And of course, the city of Burnin T'Chaka. So,
aka Chicago
yeah,
of
BT, that's totally
Wakanda.
Chicago.
Yeah.
She should have said it. Did you read her? Did she write these, or did you like speak to her and then you dictated it?
No, no, no. We sent her the questions and she emailed her responses back.
Okay, okay. Burnin T'Chaka. So clearly, at this point, everything. LOL. Yeah, okay. If you write, people don't say LOL. People type LOL. Yep. Besa, Niobe.
I
He,
still don't like that guy's clothes. That bothers me.
he looks like Ernie from inside the NBA.
It was just like he's wearing these Western outfits, like that. That's what you would expect a geeky lawyer to wear in the United States. Like this is Wakanda. He doesn't need to dress like that.
You don't like loincloths. You don't like Western
Nah,
outfits.
man, Wakanda's supposed to be unadulterated, unfettered by Western civilization. I don't want to see him wearing a bow tie and a button down. I want him. I want the artists to let their minds go crazy and think, what does Wakanda's Afrofuturism, right? So Afrofuturism wise, how would a business suit of a lawyer in Wakanda look like? That's the type of creativity I like to see. That's just me
Yeah.
personally. It's
No, I
not
agree.
officially Black Comic Lords. This is my opinion.
It is our opinion because that's how I want them to pull up at these embassies, the UN. Remember when T'Chaka showed up at the World Economic Forum?
Right,
He didn't dress in a suit. He said,
right.
and then he told them all about how you guys probably don't want to cure cancer, huh? Like
Yeah,
that's my Wakanda,
exactly. Exactly.
woke Kanda. Yeah.
That's gonna become a new hashtag. Watch.
Oh yeah, it probably is, but they mean it a different way. We got the Kivu Ma. We got the Ilonga family. This is Mama Ilonga. Is that her name? Mama Ilonga.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Baba Nikisu. Baba Nikisu and Mama Ilonga are characters I hope don't die because I'd like to see them revisit, with another writer's take on them. And T'Challa needs villains, and we got crime families. Let's keep these crime families.
Yeah, I would like to see them go in a direction where they have some type of superpowered or mystical members of those two crime families that end up becoming new villains, increasing T'Challa's rogues gallery. You know, that would be kind of dope.
And it's important to increase to his gallery, and then it's also important to keep using the villains, and that's out of her hands, right?
Right,
What is in her hands is to reach back and to find a villain that's not Ulysses, Claw, or Killmonger, but to reach back and to repurpose and kind of update that villain, just same way that we constantly get new Mysterio stories and Vulture and whatnot.
right, exactly, exactly. I mean, where's T'Challa's brother?
I believe he died in the original Hudlin.
Well, he became this monster thing, right? He got mutated by vibranium, if I recall, something like that.
When?
Am I getting it right? This is the during the is it the Kirby run? The Black Panther Volume 1, where
Oh,
you meet T'Challa's half brother.
okay.
You're gonna make me do research on this, aren't you?
Sh- I, I'm here learning. It's
Yeah, he had a half brother, um, the bastard of T'Chaka, um, and then ultimately, I believe he got mutated by the vibranium and became a monster. But I think he died or something. It'd be cool to bring him back.
I'm thinking of the one Ulysses Claw sniped, but it was his younger brother and it wasn't a half brother.
Oh, you're thinking of the Hudlin run.
Yeah, yeah.
No, 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 no. This is way before that. This is way before that. What I'm talking about is way before that.
I don't feel so bad now for not realizing that there's this like long lost half brother, and then
Yeah,
there's
the half
Hunter,
brother.
and then there's Shuri. This is huge family.
I'd like to see more of T'Challa's family because you've seen cousins here and there, right? In fact, this Niobe guy is a cousin.
Yeah, I think that's like an artificial like cousin. I don't think it's a real one.
You think it's a play cousin?
No, I saw a cousin when I was reading Ms. Marvel. It was the issue where Bruno leaves and he goes to Wakanda. So the person who was the exchange student family friend or student friend was a family member of T'Challa. I think he called him his cousin.
Hmm.
That was a bit much. That was
We
like we got to make him related to the king. Okay, sure.
we need to see some more of the family, the royal family. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, like the wife Storm. No, that's not happening.
Don't get me started.
No, I will get you started.
That's that's a sore subject with me.
I think that the ship has sailed. I feel like if they were going to keep the characters together, it'd have happened. So let's no longer like dream of that scenario and give it up. Like
But
it's
the reason why it's a sore subject for me because Ta-Nehisi Coates did it. He
I know.
brought them back in a logical. All the what I liked about the way Coates brought them back together is that he recognized how it was written that they broke up, and he didn't do away with it. He recognized it. He embraced it, and he said, "Well, let's deal with this head on. Let's deal with the fact that Storm is a free spirit and she's her own woman, and she doesn't need to be a queen." You
Mhm.
know, as an argument, because X-Men fans were like that. They're like, Storm is lessened by being the wife of Black Panther. That's what the X-Men fans were saying. Is that we don't need Storm is our character in X-Men, and by marrying T'Challa, all she becomes is now the wife of Black Panther rather than Storm, team leader, etc.
Yeah.
He embraced that aspect in the argument in their discussions between Aurora and T'Challa, and then T'Challa is like, you know what, I made a mistake trying to bring you into my palace and my world, but I didn't do it because you're not worthy. That's not the mistake. The mistake is that I'm just a lonely person because I don't want to be king. I want to be an avenger. I want to go out and do things, but I'm obligated to be king, and it's lowly being the king. And I wanted company, and I wanted you to join me, and that's purely selfishness on my part. This is the game that Coates put down in the book. I mean, and then they discussed that, and they reached this point where they literally said, look, we don't need to have labels of being man and wife or king and queen. We just need to be T'Challa and Aurora and let that be enough. You can go do your thing as the X-Men. I can do my thing as King of Wakanda. We'll still have each other's hearts, and that's all that matters. That was brilliant. That's real life. That's makes sense. And that's how real couples work out their problems and reach some type of level that you can continue with. And he wrote that brilliantly. And that's why when He Who Will Not Be Named broke them up, it made no sense because all the things, it was the complete opposite of where he got them to. It didn't make sense. And that's what I don't respect.
Don't forget also the Ten of Swords event with the Windbreaker sword. Also, there was a little bit of contention there, so it's not
Marauders,
just.
Marauders number 13. I don't like to talk about that book.
But at least I can mention Vita Ayala's name, but I can't with the other
No,
guy.
I respect Vida Ayala's, but I just that was a book that definitely leaves a black mark in my Vida Ayala fandom.
But the thing is, it's a like studio wide, not studio wide, but a publishing line wide directive. And hey, listen, why is it always that the most destructive stuff can happen with like one issue, but the rehabilitation always takes so
It
much?
takes so much longer because it's easier to destroy than it is to build. It always has been.
We're 6 issues deep into the current Black Panther volume, and I am waiting on his return to his kingship. As she says early in this, she doesn't want to give away any plot points because, all right, I hope that means that there is a direction coming, but let's not let's not assume that we're not getting canceled ever. Like comic books, everyone go to your comic shop and pick up the comic, pick up 2 comics the way Chill does. But I think that we gotta rush. I would not rush, but it's going too slowly for my liking.
She is a she likes to have space to build a story, and one of the things she points out is oftentimes, particularly black writers, don't get the space to build story. Not like a Hickman or a Bendis, you know. Um, those guys, they go
How about I
into.
do this, Paul? How about I do this? Because you're just gonna quote the video that you had, right? So on screen right now is that video, that precise video that he was about to recite word for word. You can go watch it from the horse's mouth. Go check out that video. So check us out. Subscribe to the Black Comic Lord. Subscribe to Chillmonger, And I mean it. Go click on the video. It's right up there. It's right there.
It's right there. That
Yeah, it's right there.
this way.